Welcome back. And starting with the economy this morning, the Bola Tinubu administration's economic blueprint for the country may just be getting clearer as a Presidential Economic Coordination Council tasked with the responsibility of strategizing on ways out of the current economic situation in the country has been inaugurated by the President. At the ceremony, which took place in the State House, Abuja, the President also unveiled his stabilization and advancement emergency plan to cover the next 6 months. The plan includes the injection of 2 trillion naira into the Nigerian economy.
I can give instructions as the President from my office, but I believe so much deeply in the organized private sector. The partnership to drive the economy of this country, for reforms and stabilization that is necessary.
And the Senate has launched an investigation into transactions into the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project from 1999 to date. The resolution was adopted after a motion moved by Senator Haruna Manu, representing Taraba Central Senatorial District, on the urgent need to address the challenges of commencing the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project. Lawmakers highlighted the failure of previous governments to prioritize the national project, which has the capacity to generate over 3,000 megawatts of electricity and reposition the Ajaokuta Steel Complex with $1.7 billion.
With its capacity to generate 3,050 megawatts and reposition the Ajaokuta Steel Complex with $1.7 billion makes it a priority project of national importance. Worried that the volume of contradictory information about the project might hinder the actualization of the good objectives and the benefits it brings to the good people of Nigeria.
Not even an inch of the road that will take you to the Mambila has been constructed. So this project, if it must ever be executed, it has to have the special blessing and commitment of Mr. President himself.
It is Nigerian lawyers and government officials in the Ministry of Justice over the years, they always enter into an agreement that disfavors the country to the benefit of private investors who pay a peanut for admission to be worded in a way that Nigeria is in trouble.
100 megawatts are more than enough to virtually each and every state in Nigeria. And in one place, you can mobilize and generate 3,000 megawatts, and yet over the years, we've been playing politics with this. Mr. President, something is wrong with us.
Let's head to the courts now, as the Court of Appeal Abuja has nullified the expulsion of Martin Amewule and 24 others from the River State House of Assembly by the River State High Court. Justice Charles Wali had in May, while ruling on a motion ex parte following a prayer brought before its court by Victor Okojombo, issued an ex parte order barring Amewule and 24 other lawmakers from parading themselves as members of the State House of Assembly. But on Monday, a 3-member panel of the appellate court held that the lower court lacked the jurisdiction to grant the ex parte order. The court held that Section 272, subsection 3 of the Constitution gives the Federal High Court powers to determine whether the seat of a House of Assembly member can become vacant. According to the court, the express mention of the Federal High Court in Section 272, subsection 3 of the Constitution automatically excludes all state high courts from having the jurisdiction. The appellate court held that the ex parte order, having been made without jurisdiction, is null and void. And River State lawmaker Martin Amewule has applauded the Court of Appeal court judgment which nullified his expulsion and 24 others from the River State House of Assembly. While reacting to the judgment, he promised to uphold the Constitution and continue the goodwill of Rivers people towards developing the state. Also, politicians in Port Harcourt and lawyers have been reacting to the appeal court's ruling. And staying with the courts now, Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has held that the governorship primary election held by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Edo State on February the 22nd, which produced Asue Godalo as the party's candidate, is invalid. In a judgment, Justice Ekwo held that the decision of the PDP to exclude 378 elected ward delegates from participating in the primary election was a violation of the provision of Article 50, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the party. The judgment was on a suit filed on February the 8th by Honorable Kelvin Mohammed, Gabriel Ossi Okodua, and Edaraho Osagi for themselves and on behalf of the 378 ad hoc delegates whose names and election results appear on exhibits BID 8A to 8. The judge said there is no doubt that the second defendants, that's the PDP, neither complied with the relevant provisions of its constitution nor the electoral guidelines for primary elections held on February the 22nd, 2024. Now, the Kano State High Court has adjourned till July the 18th to rule on an application for extension of time, notice of preliminary objection, and for the judge to recuse herself in the Kano Emirate tussle suit. Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu fixed the date for ruling after listening to parties in the suit. The judge will also rule on an application seeking to set aside an ex parte order of the court, as well as the joinder of parties to the case. Before setting down the date for ruling, a mild drama ensued when Senior Advocate of Nigeria Abdul Mohammed and other counsel for the 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, withdrew their legal representation. Mohammed had informed the court that he had an affidavit of fact dated July the 3rd, attached with a notice of appeal and a motion of a stay of proceedings. He urged the court to stay proceedings pending the hearing and determination of the motion at the appeal court. And now, briefly on business, the federal government has announced new rates and charges for mining companies operating in the country. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake, announced these rates at a media briefing in Abuja. Mr. Alake explains that the rates are necessary to support the advancement in the sector. He adds that the new rates will take immediate effect. Over 250 natural resources are affected by the new rate.
The rates are just too infinitesimal, too negligible, too inconsequential to sustain these investments, these technological advances, and we have more in the offing that we want to put into the system to enhance the ease of doing business and to open up further the sector for foreign and local investment. So we decided that we needed to do something about the old rates. Now, reconnaissance permits will now attract a fee of 300,000. Exploration license will now be 600,000. Small-scale mining license will be 300,000. Quarry lease will be 600,000. And water use permit 300,000. The annual service fee is now 31,500 naira per cadastral unit, not per license, but per unit. Each license could have as many units. Some would have 20, 30, 40, 50 units. So per unit will now be 31,500 naira.
And outside our shores, powerful Hurricane Beryl has hit Jamaica with heavy winds and rain, damaging buildings and felling trees on the Caribbean island. The Category 4 storm brought winds of up to 130 meters per hour on Jamaica's southern coast. Social media photos show floodwater pouring down streets with roofs ripped off by the wind. The storm has killed at least 7 people so far as it sweeps across the Caribbean. It has now been downgraded to a Category 3 storm and is due to make landfall in Mexico later on Friday. Well, witnesses have been saying in their words, it's terrible, everything is gone. And they're hoping that the wind quells a bit. In sports news now, Super Eagles are to face Benin, Rwanda, Libya in the 2025 AFCON qualifiers. And placed in Group D, the Super Eagles face Benin Republic, who defeated them recently in a 2026 World Cup qualifier. In the draw ceremony held in Johannesburg, South Africa on Thursday, Nigeria will also play Libya and Rwanda, who are also part of the Super Eagles lot for the race to the World Cup in the USA, Canada and Mexico in 2 years. The qualifiers for the 2025 AFCON will begin in September and end in November 2025, but the competition will hold between December 21, 2025 and January 18, 2026. A lot of time there for the Super Eagles to prepare and, of course, take their revenge on Benin Republic, hopefully. But there's more to talk about. And what are you saying about some of the big stories? Kaide joins me now for a review.
Oh, yes, Bukola. Yeah, we look forward to how that plays out, whether or not we'll be able to get our own pound of flesh back.
Right?